Hello and welcome back, CarCam UK and KIA Sedona. Will be working today on the oil cooler. We start to put all the parts all together, so the oil cooler is ready. It's clean inside and nice, and then the cover and the cooler is prepared. The oil surface around here is nice and clear. So that's the nuts which goes over here. And there is no combination that we can turn this part upside down, because the one side and the other is in the different directions. So that's the one which is here. So there is only one direction which we can put inside of the cover. Okay, what we need: the nuts are 14, so we need a socket with the handle with the socket, size 14, some torque wrench. This one is providing the torque from 8 to 60. For these nuts which holding the cooler to cover, we need between 18 and 22 Newton meters. So I'm set my torque wrench for 20 Newton meters, and that will be exactly what we're looking for. Okay, the parts what we're looking for, and that's the new parts, that's the old one. So we got the 2 O-rings for a cooler, and 4 small O-rings for nuts, the pointing points, the studs which are coming out from the cooler, and we need to screw them over cover. So that's the parts, plus the big gasket for all cooler, between cooler and the engine block. So that's the old one. As we can see, is corroded around. The black paint, which is which is a proper coat, is already split out in some places, so is nasty. That's the new one from Kia, and the part number for KIA Sedona 2.9 CRDi is a between 2006 and 2010. So that's the part number from Kia. So we got the 2 gaskets, the big one. We got the 4 small O-rings for bolts, and 2 big O-rings for the cooler, between cooler and the cover. So that's the parts which we're looking for. Okay, so the first step will be to put the small O-rings inside here, in these 4 places. I think that's the better way to sort it. This surface here was already clean, so it's nice and soft. There is no any old stuff around here. I was used the sandpaper grade 600, just to make the aluminium around smooth, just to let the O-rings come to flat surface and seal the gap between, if is any. So okay, the small O-rings, 4 small O-rings is going there, and the large 2 O-rings going just around here in this dip. That's the first step. Okay, so we got the small O-rings in place already. When we put them inside, we can notice there's a nice and a round shape for the O-ring. When comparing with the old one, it was already flat, and in some places the rubbers start to split out from ring. So as you can see, over the time the rubber lose the quality and is not so flexible. So this one will give the nice and much better protection for oil, so we don't want any oil to leak outside in the place for the nuts. So that's 4 O-rings for these bolts over here. Okay, and that's 2 large O-ring in place for between cooler and cover. The rubber is completely different story as well. Again, here on the old one we can see there are some cranks on the side, and this O-ring is quite a flat now and not very much flexible. So yes, to change the O-rings will be definitely a very good idea if we work on oil cooler. The small one, the price of the small O-rings was just under £1 each, so it's cost only just under £4 altogether for a full set. This the large one, they cost around between 12 or 13 pounds each, so not very cheap, but for set I will that's average 25 pounds for these two black O-rings. They're quite expensive from some reason, probably not common part to replace, so they cost a little more. Okay, and the large metal gasket, which is just around here, that's cost just under 15 pounds. So it's not £1 story, but it's quite important to replace all this set if you want a peace of mind for later. So I will say that's the way. Okay, so the cooler is in place now. This 4 nuts was tight for 20 Newton meters, as we can see. In fact, it's a not high strange moment. It's just really, it's enough to close the gap between cooler and cover. So it's really more important how's the gasket looks inside than how hard we can screw the bolt inside. Okay, so the next step will be just to clean the surface around engine, the flat surface, and the surface just outside here, just to give a nice and shiny look, and avoid any leaks from outside. Okay, so the next step is we need to clean this surface around here when it's contact with the metal gasket around the oil cooler cover. So this need to be clean. I'm start already here when you see the factory grinding, which means you come to the flat surface, which is just under. What I'm use here, I'm use the light sandpaper. Probably some of you say too light, but my grade is 600. This way I maybe use a little more sandpaper, but I know the surface will be nice and flat, and I'm no go deep in the metal surface as well. So in general, only the CRDi will be take away from the surface around here. This part is also important because that will be oil under pressure here. So in these 3 places. So I will say spend a little time and clean this surface properly. Okay, so the surface was clean around. You might not always see this, but it's nice and soft. There is no gap on the surface around here, so it's a good sign. Okay, the next step will be just to prepare the surface of cover, oil cooler cover, and then with the gasket put all the parts together.